Hello, Taurus, and welcome in for your reading. This is be for the first half of September, and we'll take a look at jobs and careers, love and relationships, and life path and mission. So before we get started, this is a new deck that I have. It's about crystals. Actually, it's kind of cool. There's a QR code on the back, and there's sound that you can look at, or you can use your phone and pull it up to use some of these different sounds for while you're meditating. But it has different crystals on it, so we'll pick out one to see what crystal the divine thinks that you should be working with this month. So tiger's eye. Then it says celestial gold rebirthed, and that's about courage, liberation, and healing the heart. So if you're in a situation where you feel like your heart has been beaten up a little bit lately, this will be helping to heal the heart. One of the things that's still happening right now is Venus is still in retrograde, and it's going to go direct on September 3rd, but for now it's still in retrograde. So I know there's been a lot of really tough energy there, kind of that make it or break it type of energy for a lot of relationships. And also with Mercury in retrograde right now, that has to do a lot with communication and, technology and traveling, and also timing. It seems like everybody's just like a half a bubble off from a timing perspective. So there's a lot of really heavy energies right now. So this healing the heart might be a good one for you to consider. And with that, you can either use that like in your palm when you're meditating, carry it around in your pocket, however you prefer to use your crystals, or if you have jewelry. Tiger's eye is not particularly expensive, so that might be something to consider picking up. All right, so before we dive into the individual aspects of your reading, we're going to go ahead and take a look at just the overall energy for you for the first half of September. So let's take a look. We have our Knight of Shells, which that's Knight of Cups. We have our Page of Feathers, so that's going to be your Page of Swords in reverse, and then you have the Moon in reverse. So this Knight of Shells, and that says like charm and passion. So that's your Knight of Cups, and that is about kind of negotiation. Then your Page of Swords, yes, that's feathers. So your Page of Swords in reverse is kind of some like cynicism and bluntness and manipulation. And your Moon in reverse is repressed emotions and a lot of self-delusions and confusion. So this is really a time to look at what stories are you telling yourself. With the self-delusion part, it's easy to get certain narratives in our mind, or you're seeing what you want to see out of certain situations. So Neptune is still in retrograde until early December, and that's about confronting these illusions. And Chiron's also in retrograde, and that's about healing your wounds and kind of healing your identity. So with keeping those in mind, that you have your kind of this cynicism and this manipulation, as well as your self-delusion and repressed emotions, if that's kind of the overlying message that's coming out for the first half of the month, that's something to really focus on. Something that is happening in the beginning, or the first half of the month, is on the 14th. We have a new moon in Virgo, which is usually about like new projects, new routines, things like that. But with Mercury going direct the very next day, this is more about turning your focus onto things that you can kind of quickly finish up, things that have been stalled out for a while. Maybe you've had something kind of on your plate to do, and you've just been putting off doing it. By the middle of the month, that's really going to be a good time to do it. So anytime when these energies are coming out and it's like, oh, this is the time to do this, it's more of a matter of how can you work with the energies that are already there. So it's that idea of, if you were planting a garden and you were trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to be successful in planting a garden? You have things to consider like the heat, the sunlight, the pH of the soil, the watering. Well, if you look it up, like in the Farmer's Almanac or the weather or whatever, and it says this is going to be the driest, hottest summer of the last 100 years, it's not to say that you cannot plant a garden. It's saying that's going to be a lot of extra work. So it's kind of the same thing of let's work with the energies that are already out there. So if some of your energies, like with all of these retrogrades, they're they're pushing you to go inward and work on some of these healing things. It's saying this is the time to work on healing some of these self-delusions, some of these repressed emotions. And then, once Mercury goes direct, kind of really dive in and start trying to make some progress on some of those. Because a lot of that too goes back to with North Node and Aries about being unapologetically you and living a life true to yourself and being on your path. So that puts you in like your highest vibration. So here we're looking at jobs. So in the recent past, you have the Lovers. Your current energy is Page of Cups in reverse. And the next level of energy or the next wave that's coming in is your Four of Pentacles in reverse. So in the recent past with the Lovers, that's kind of that uniting of divine masculine and feminine. So, sometimes, and for some of you, it may be that there's actually, from a work perspective, that there is in the recent past, there's been a relationship there. But this is also about a major decision. So that there's been like a major decision you've been thinking about in the recent past as it pertains to work. And, then you're sitting right now in kind of this immature or insecure energy, and there's been some disappointments. So maybe this was a big decision work-wise, and now you're feeling like, okay, I made the wrong decision there. But kind of the next level of energy that's coming in is like this generous giving type of energy, but it's also a little bit of a caution about overspending. So if you're sitting here in this like insecure place and you've been disappointed work-wise, make sure you don't overcompensate for it by overspending and getting yourself into problems there. So it's good to be generous and giving, but don't overdo it because you've been disappointed, like you made the wrong decision. If this was a decision to be made and then now you're sitting there like, maybe that was not the right way to go. So a little bit of a something to keep in mind work-wise. So also Saturn is still in retrograde until early November, and that is about how do you attain your goals? Where are you investing your energy? So it could be that you're investing too much energy at work, like I said, to overcompensate for something kind of not playing out the way that you thought it was going to. So that could be a push to look at, is that the right job or field, or how can you get yourself back to neutral? If the pendulum was swinging too far one way, you don't want it to go all the way to the other side. You want it to balance out. So the next one that we're going to look at is love and relationships. In the recent past, you have your Five of Wands in reverse. You're currently sitting in Tower in reverse energy, with the likely outcome being your Seven of Wands in reverse. So with all this being in reverse, it's maybe a little bit of backwards energy, but there's this sense of in the recent past that you feel like you have a sense of peace or solutions or resolutions there, but you're sitting in a place of kind of delaying the inevitable, like this fear of letting go, and you're resisting change, and that's pushing you into this, like the next level that's coming in is this like weakness and surrender and kind of the stage of burnout. So it feels like there's been a compromise here and some sort of a resolution, like, hey, we've gotten to this peaceful solution, but it feels like that maybe it wasn't necessarily like a joyful solution, like, oh, we worked together to come to this great solution. It kind of seems like it was, you know, here, this is what we're going to do to try to fix a situation. But it really didn't do it. It's more like it was masking it, because now you're sitting here where you're just delaying the inevitable. So it seems like this is maybe the sense of a relationship is coming to an end, like there's been some struggle. So with Venus in retrograde right now, that's really been that make it or break it energy for relationships. And it could be that this relationship that you're in has kind of been pushed to the point of breaking. So it's more like, rather, like I said, rather than this being a peaceful resolution or solution, it was almost kind of like more like a ceasefire. um, but all that was doing is it wasn't actually fixing the problem. It was just like, okay, hey, let's not fight about this problem anymore. But the problem is still there, and you're resisting the change. You're delaying the inevitable. You have this fear of letting go, and all that's doing is leading to burnout. So that's something that you need to really take a look at. And Chiron is still in retrograde through essentially the end of the year, like December 26th, and that's about it's the wounded healer. So you have these inner wounds that need to be healed that hasn't been addressed. So there is this fear of letting go because there's underlying issues that are keeping you in probably a codependent relationship. And that's something that it needs to go, like the codependency needs to go. So there's been, tying this back to this moon in reverse card, there's been repressed emotions and kind of this self-delusion. So, Neptune's in retrograde through early December, and that's about confronting those illusions. And Pluto's also in retrograde until October 10th, and that's about power struggles, and it's challenging your own toxic behaviors. So how is it that you contributed to this toxic situation? Your page of feathers, that page of swords in reverse is kind of that, you have this energy of cynicism and manipulation. So it seems like maybe this has just been we'll call it like a long time coming, and but you just don't want to let it go. And really with North Node in Aries until January of 2025, I believe. Really, that's about being unapologetically you, standing in your true, authentic self, having that healthy level of selfishness to say, this is what I need. I'm not just going to stay doing something because it's more suitable for other people. So it seems like this is really the area to take a look at. And it goes along with this crystal card too, the courage, liberation, and healing the heart. So in order to move to your higher timeline, you do have to have the courage to liberate yourself from this situation so that you can heal your heart and move forward in a, I guess, happier, healthier, more balanced relationship or situation. All right, so let's take a look at life path and mission for you. In the recent past, we have strength. Current energy is Page of Wands, and the likely outcome is Ace of Wands, or like that next level of energy. So, in the recent past, you have this, kind of strength, like this steadfast type of energy about this is what my mission is. This is what my purpose in life is. And your Page of Wands is, you're currently sitting in a little bit of that like happy, excited, optimistic energy. And then the next part that's coming through is excitement and a new beginning. So it seems like this part is lining up well. And so it looks like things are on track for you in terms of your life purpose. And it could be that there's a mismatch here between, what your life purpose is. This is not going in a happy, positive, peaceful direction. But this part is. And so it could be that there's this imbalance between, you know, North Node has been in Taurus in your sign for the last year and a half, and it just switched out of that in July, so last month. And so that was all about creating stability, creating, like that structure and stability. So it's kind of like, it looks like you did, but it's not working. So now with North Node pushing into Aries, it's like, no, be you. And I think this is that energy that's coming through, is being unapologetically you, and that's going to bring you that happiness, that fulfillment, that sense of peace, even if things here are not, I guess, panning out the way you would have anticipated it. So let's take a look at some oracle cards. All right, your Gaia card. Healing, reconnecting with your true nature. And when you work on your healing, that really helps bring you closer to your life path and your mission. Everybody's here on this planet to learn lessons, and you can learn them the easy way or the hard way. You can either take the course once, or if you continue to drop out of that class or fail that class or sleep through class, you are still going to have to take that class again. So you're here to learn lessons, and with these lessons comes healing. So we do have the full moon kind of that just happened at the very, very end of August. And so that's about ending of cycles. And when cycles end, usually there's some amount of healing or learning that you did. So let's take a look at our moon card. Prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. So in your sign, prosperity lies ahead. So it looks like, this will be prosperous for you. And up here, even with the job part, yes, maybe there was a decision and you feel like you kind of went the wrong direction. But you are in a giving sort of a mindset. So if there's a way that you can like marry the two of these together, your life mission and your regular job or your day-to-day, you are going to see a lot of that prosperity coming through. All right. Oops. Oh my goodness. So since all of those kind of tumbled out, let's try that again. So right path, wrong approach. So up here in terms of, maybe that's with the job situation, is that you were on the right path, but you just kind of had a little bit of a wrong approach. So changing your approach can help out with that situation. So I hope that you found today's reading to be helpful. If this is information that you think somebody else could benefit from, I would encourage you to share it with them. There's also, I did a reading, one of those Is This Your Person readings, and that posted the other day. And I have a twin flame video that we'll be posting within the next week. So if you're on a twin flame journey and wanted to check that out, make sure you hit the notification and subscribe, so that way you can get alerted when that video posts. Otherwise, continue to do the daily oracle reading, or single card pulls with the oracle readings. And I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time, bye-bye.